Lawmakers under fire for passing legislation to make it a sanctuary state just days after the Rockville rape case involving 2 illegal immigrants.
The O'Reilly Factor, the number.
Staying with us for this special edition of the Factor Drama on the Potomac. I'm Eric Bowling in for Bill O'Reilly. And in the Factor follow-up segment tonight, sanctuary cities and states. This week, Maryland's House of Delegates voted overwhelmingly to turn Maryland into a sanctuary state despite the governor's veto threat. The vote happened in the shadow of the Rockville, Maryland rape case where 2 illegal immigrant students are accused of sexually attacking a 14-year-old girl in their high school bathroom. Today, Maryland's Republican governor condemned the county where Rockville is located.
Montgomery County is acting as a sanctuary county, and they are not cooperating with federal authorities. That's a big part of the problem.
Joining us now with reaction from Palm Beach Gardens, Florida, Fox News contributor Steve Cortes, and from Baltimore, Keith Haynes, a Democratic member of Maryland's House of Delegates, who co-sponsored this week's sanctuary bill. Delegate Haynes, I'm going to start with you. So just days after this atrocious rape case, you guys voted to turn Maryland into a sanctuary state. Why?
Well, let me first of all say that the state of Maryland has been progressive when it comes to issues of immigration in this area. And what we sought to do was to put forward this legislation called the Trust Act to basically to restore community trust between the community and law enforcement as we see things that are happening on the federal level.
But Delegate, did this case, this rape case, this days prior come up, and when you're debating whether or not this is a good idea?
Well, let me just emphasize that this was an issue that did come up, but when you look at the incident that happened in Montgomery County, which is a horrific situation by all means, we know that, but there really isn't an immigration component when you look at the allegations that took place.
Come on,
and
sir, what do you mean there's not an immigration component? These two were illegals in your county who allegedly raped a 14-year-old girl, a 17-year-old and 18-year-old illegal. I got to bring Steve in, but boy, that is immigrant. It's the definition of what we're worried about.
But let me explain. Let me explain
please.
what I mean. Let me explain what I mean with that. Is that under the state law as it is now in the state of Maryland, a local law enforcement police agency could not detain these individuals. They had no record. They had no affiliation with any gangs, and so they could not have a federal
Delegate Haynes, I got to bring Steve in. My mind is blowing on this right now, but I'm telling you, Steve, go ahead. This is the reason why sanctuary cities are not popular and are dangerous.
Right, and it's also, by the way, one of the reasons why Donald Trump won, this kind of cognitive dissonance. I will tell you, as an Hispanic who loves legal immigration and as a father of teen girls, this story horrifies me. And to say there's no immigration component, Sanchez was caught at the border. Now, that should have been the end of the story. You're illegal, return to sender. Instead, he was released. He goes to Maryland, and then Maryland authorities decided to put a grown man, an 18-year-old, in a class with a freshman girl, a child who sadly, Eric, may never really be a child again because of the way she was traumatized by these 2 illegals who should never have been here in the very first place.
All right, Delegate Haynes, I'm going to let you answer that. Go ahead.
Yeah, but absolutely. True. These 2 individuals were undocumented, on legal status when they were here. Yes, they were in custody. But under federal law, these individuals, because of their age, were released to the Department of Health and Human Services, and in turn given to custody.
I don't want to be rude. I don't want to be rude. But this is Steve.
Quickly, let me finish. But let me finish.
Please
and
do.
So Maryland, under state law, a local enforcement agency, whether it's the police, constitutionally cannot detain those 2 individuals.
All right.
It is a horrific situation.
I'm going to give you a very quick final thought, Steve, but this is the problem. These are things that fall through the cracks, and people get hurt, and young girls get raped.
Eric, you know, what happens is liberal elites love to talk in theory about what they see as social justice and what's popular at universities. The reality is, on the street, policemen, victims have to live with the carnage of these policies. And by the way, in many cases, the victims are Hispanics themselves, which just happened in Los Angeles, where a 5 times deported man killed a young, beautiful Sandra Duran mother in the United States. So Donald Trump ran and won largely on the notion that we're going to take our country back from the elites and these kind of misbegotten policies.
Gentlemen, I have to leave it right there. A hot debate, absolutely. Thank you very much.
The mayor is forbidding city employees from cooperating with federal agents.
In Los Angeles, we don't separate children from their families because it's inhumane. In Los Angeles, we don't demonize our hardworking neighbors just because they speak a different language or come from a different country. That's un-American.
Don Rosenberg's son was killed by an illegal immigrant, and he is live for us now in L.A. to react. Don, good to have you here this morning. This hits close to home for you because you lost your son to an illegal immigrant, and you live in the city of L.A. First, off the top, to remind people, what happened to your son?
My son was a law student in San Francisco. He was coming home from school when an illegal alien made a last-second left-hand turn, collided with him, and then, trying to flee, drove back and forth over his body 3 times, killing him.
So he would still be alive if it weren't for that illegal immigrant?
Well, he would have been alive if the guy had just stopped, but certainly, yes, certainly he would be alive if it wasn't for the illegal immigrant.
Right.
And other things in the system that could have prevented this, you know, prior, even if the guy was here, could have prevented it.
Well, this has got to be such an emotional issue for you, and you are experiencing, you're in the heart of it right there in L.A., where the mayor there, he has banned airport police and firefighters from cooperating with federal immigration agents, not letting them do their job. What's going on where you are?
I guess insanity would be the easy answer. You know, what's amazing about what Garcetti is doing, aside from, you know, getting ready to run for his next office, even though he just finished running for mayor, is he's jeopardizing the health, safety, welfare of everybody in Los Angeles and the surrounding area. If we learned one thing from the 9/11 Commission when it came to terrorism, is that law enforcement has to work together. And look what just happened in England this week. So you have a terrorist, wasn't on the watch list, could have flown to Los Angeles, and he's telling the Los Angeles police, don't work with the federal authorities, even at the airport. I mean, it's criminal behavior on his part. And then you listen to his other comments where he says, you know, we don't separate families. Well, yes, we do. You separated my family, and you've separated tens of thousands of families. You never talk about that. You talk about separating families where people have committed crimes, and you say that that's demonizing them. Right. It's outrageous.
I mean, the most un-American part of this whole thing are people like you, Don, that have lost someone they love so much because of these illegal immigrants that are here in this country committing crimes when they shouldn't be. If you were to go face-to-face with the mayor of L.A. in your town there, what would you say to him? Because this obviously hits so close to home to you and so many others that have lost someone so close to them.
Well, first I'd tell him to resign because he took an oath of office, which he's violated. And then I would tell him that he better watch out because he needs to be indicted and convicted. He's violating federal law. He's obstructing justice. And that he needs to stop. If he wants to talk about demonizing, he's the one that's doing the demonizing because he's comparing legal, law-abiding immigrants with illegal aliens. So they're doing the demonizing. And of course, the LA Times does absolutely nothing to tell the truth of what's going on. I mean, they haven't even run a story about that 14-year-old girl that was raped and sexually assaulted in Florida. But they did run a story, front page, above the fold, about a woman, a Hispanic woman, who was asked by a stupid waiter, are you in the country legally? That gets a front page, full page story, but a rape, no story at all.
Well, Don, that's why we have you here to tell your story. I know it's not easy for you to come out and tell everyone what you've been through. We appreciate that, and sorry for all that you've been through.
No, thank you. I appreciate it. I want to get the truth out.
Thanks for being with us.
Thank you for helping.